Okay, so we're nearing our end of our lesson series here. We're on lesson number 7. And today I want to take some time to talk about thermal energy. So to this point, we've talked about the difference between heat and temperature. We've talked about how we can convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. We've talked about states of matter and how we have solids, liquids, and gases, and how we can move in how we have particles in each of those, and depending on how those particles are moving, it tells us whether it's a solid, liquid, or gas. And we know that particle theory, that there are 5 points to particle theory, that all matter is made of particles, that particles are always moving, that there's spaces between the particles, and that the particles move faster when they're hot and slower when they're cold. And we know that there are forces between these particles. So when they're closer together, the forces holding the two bonds together are stronger, and when the particles are further apart, their forces are not as strong holding them together. Last lesson we talked about convection, conduction, and radiation. These are 3 ways that heat gets transferred, and so they can get transferred through contact, through a liquid or a gas, or through waves, okay? And so today I want to take some time just talking about thermal energy, which is a type of energy with heat. So thermal energy refers to the energy that comes from heat, okay? And when we're talking about thermal energy, we kind of have 2 things that come to mind. The first thing is we talk about things that insulate. Okay, so first of all, an insulator is, it doesn't allow heat to pass through easily. So when you think of your house, okay, in your house you have insulation that goes in between the walls, and that insulation protects the heat from your house going outwards, and it keeps the heat inside. And then also likewise in the opposite, in the winter or in the summer seasons, when it's hot outside, it insulates your house to make sure that the heat outside stays outside and that your house stays nice and cool. So an insulator is things that does not allow energy to pass through or heat to pass through. Usual materials that are good for that are rubber, wood, paper. Hair is also a really good insulator, okay? We wrap babies up to keep the heat inside to allow them to stay warm and for preventing that heat from escaping. The opposite then of an insulator is a conductor. They allow heat to pass through, and so when you think about things that you want to pass heat through, like cooking something on the stove, you want the heat element to go through the pot to heat up that water, because if it didn't, then that water would never get hot, never boil, and never cook your food. Okay, so a conductor allows heat to pass through easily. It helps pass energy. Examples of that are metals, irons, paperclip, copper. A lot of our metals are involved in that. So when we look at that element, heat goes through and that allows it to be transferred. So thermal energy is an energy that comes from heat, okay? And then at the end of this lesson, when you're all done, there's going to be a little assignment page that you're going to work on. You're going to perform some experiments, and you're going to produce a final product for me. So when you get to the end of this lesson and you've watched your video and you've done your activity, please make sure that you check in with me. We can pass you the assignment and you can get working on that. Good job.